Okay, so welcome to the Guidepost Montessori Virtual School Early Years Program Overview. This is specific to our children who are 0 through 2 years old. These are some really great pictures of, specifically in the middle one here, of some materials that you will have access to and that we will be sending you for your child. And what we're going to do today is just to give you a quick agenda. I've introduced my colleagues and I'll introduce myself a little bit here in a minute. And we'll dive deeper a little bit into, we'll overview the program, and then we'll dive a little deeper into how registration works and what those next step would be. And then we have a question answer session at the end. You feel free to ask any questions you like, whether it pertains to this program or just your child in general or your family or your perspective. We're there to help you really understand all of this.
Trisha, we just had Belen join us, so I just wanted to
great.
say hi to Belen. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Hi, Belen, how are you?
Hi, very well, thank you very
Nice
much.
to meet you.
Great to meet you too, and hi to everyone.
Hello, where are you calling from?
Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, yes. Candace, one of our missions specialists, is from Canada as well. I love your accent. Where are you originally from?
Very Latin American, actually. I'm from Argentina.
Argentina, yay. And this is, yes. We just had another colleague enter, Val. She's also from, your hometown is Mexico City. Yes, Val.
My hometown is not Mexico. It's in Argentina, is in the interior. It's not very popular, to be honest.
Okay.
I come from a very small place.
That's wonderful, though. I love that. What a great story you must have.
Yeah, Val, for sure.
Yes, Val, one of our associates, is from Mexico City. I apologize. I might have been a little confused there.
No worries. Okay.
Belen, how old is your child?
She's 4 months here, 4 months old. Sorry.
Great, wonderful. Thank you. That will be good to know. So we're going to, thank you for joining us. I'm excited that you want to learn more about our program. I'm going to share my screen now, go over a little bit about our agenda today. I will give you brief introductions. We'll talk about our program and our infant environment and our infant guides and the program that we offer our families, and then some details about next steps relative to registration. And then we have a question answer session at the end. Joining us today again is Pamela. She's one of our infant specialists here at Guidepost Montessori. We also have Val and Candace, who are colleagues of mine, and they are also Montessori specialists, and Candace is the admission specialist. And Belen, if you have any questions at all through this talk, and I've conveyed this already to Jess, is please feel free to drop in your questions or comments in the comment section of the presentation, and we will make sure we get to those questions or thoughts towards the end of the presentation. So I wanted—
Great, thanks.
You're welcome, absolutely. I wanted to introduce myself a little bit. I have been a Montessorian for 22 years, and I completed my AMS certification in Maryland many, many years ago. I trained in the Children's House, or what we call primary group of children ages 2.5 through 6 years. And I have moved all over the world about 25 times in my life and have really found some amazing Montessori programs throughout my travels. I have, in terms of my career in Montessori, I've started as an assistant guide. I have been a full guide that's been in charge of an entire classroom, a director of education, a head of school, a Montessori consultant, and I have helped to start a few Montessori schools in the Southeast of America. And now I find myself at this incredible intersection of Montessori education and pedagogy and methodology meets the virtual experience. And it has been absolutely fantastic. I'm so excited to be in this position. I love what I do, and I love talking to parents. It's the best part of my job and the best part of my day. And one of the highlights of my life is that I actually visited Rome, Italy, and found the very first Montessori school established in 1907. And these are my travel pictures that I wanted to share. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place, and very, very quiet and kind of tucked away in a little neighborhood. And it's just quite it's quite amazing to see that it's still there and still in existence, and children still attend, which is fantastic. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Guidepost Montessori just to give you a brief overview of who we are and where we come from and what we do. Our mission is to implement a platform that enables every school to pursue a path to become a very, very high quality Montessori program for our children and families. Currently, we have Montessori schools worldwide. We operate 75 schools and serve over 4,400 children and families. And our program ranges from 6 weeks of age all the way through high school. And we have partnered with a brand called the Academy of Thought and Industry, and that is what we consider our middle school and our high school. We have brick and mortar programs all over the world for all Montessori, as well as our Academy of Thought and Industry schools. And then we are now offering our virtual program, which is really, really fantastic, and we're finding it very, very successful. The birth of our program actually started about 6 months ago when COVID hit the world, and all of our programs across the world were in existence and everyone needed a shelter in place. And we started hearing from our families that they really, really appreciated what we did in person and was wondering if we could translate that somehow to the virtual experience to continue to support them and their families. So we did. We got together as an entire company and as a team of thinkers and Montessorians, and we have a training center. We pulled resources from every avenue of our program and our company, and centered our virtual program around very important principles that we consider essential and crucial to a solid Montessori program. These 6 principles are enfolded within our curriculum and in our philosophy and in the material and the perspective that we teach you as families and as parents. And I will go over these very briefly as we work our way through the presentation. But we have the 6 principles we find very important are free choice, sense of order, children learning from their peers, which is very, very important and beautiful, quite honestly, to observe and to be a part of. Children have a sense of freedom of movement and love to move and need to move. And really, this is all taught within a context of what your child's experience is in their world, in their community, and their family. And we make sense of what we teach children through their personal context and their personal experiences. So that's just a nice way to tie it off relative to our 6 principles. And that we find brings all of this together very nicely. So our early years program overview today is going to encompass ages 0 through 2 years old. And I wanted to share with you these photos because underneath our early years program umbrella are children that we service in smaller groups, ages 0 through 2 years old, ages 2 through 4 years old, and then ages 4 through 6 years old. And obviously this overview is of children, young infants and young toddlers ages 0 through 2 years old. The principles of these 6 principles that we really hold true to our heart, they apply across all of our age levels through the entire early years continuum, but they're going to be obviously very different in how they manifest. There are going to be differences in children's developmental stages, their needs through those stages, and also their interests and their likes and dislikes. And you will start to see as your child gets older what they start to gravitate to and what their interests are and what activities they like to do. And we take all of that into consideration when supplying you with materials, curriculum, ideas, activities, variations of the work that we provide relative to what these developmental stages are. So we hone into these very, very, almost at a scientific level, we like to think of it, and keep that in mind with our age groups. So the emphasis to this process and to this presentation is really helping you create a home environment for your child. And we do this in a number of ways that I'm going to go over, but the infant program emphasizes helping you prepare materials, supplies, furniture, and all of this is organized and created to ensure that your baby's success is where you find it most useful, as well as yours. This is not just about your infant as it is your entire family, and how we help you prepare your environment as a family that best supports your infant and their stage and developmental level. So we really, our process and our program for this at the very beginning is really emphasizing that home preparation, and we couple that with a number of things. We have parent concierges that we provide you access to, and I'll get into that in more detail in just a moment. You have a prepared environment consultation with a Montessori consultant to help you prepare your beautiful, warm, inviting environment that sets your child up for success, as well as you and your family. And then a Monty Kids material subscription that we will provide you Montessori learning materials that are shipped to your home every 3 months to really help facilitate this, what this learning looks like. So I'm going to go over these 3 components a little more in detail, and this will help make that 0 to 2-year-old program. Again, the emphasis we put on this is, as the child grows, things shift in the house a little bit. The materials change, your perspective changes. Your child goes from, laying on their back to moving on their shoulders, to scooting on their bottom, to walking. This happens very fast. It's amazing how fast it happens. But we have processes in place that will help you and support you through these stages of your child. So our parent concierge is one of my favorite processes of what we offer in this program. And you will be given unlimited access to a parent concierge who is a trained and certified Montessorian in this age group that will work with you in your home to support your child's growth, their development, and the success that will build your baby's experiences in your home. And your concierge will give you direction and support with the materials that your baby is provided, as well as the objectives and the use of the physical manipulatives. So you're not simply receiving a box of materials, but you know how to place them. You will understand when to introduce them, where to put them on the shelves, and how to create that orderly, very cohesive environment for your child. Also, this is designed to empower you and your family to continue that learning when we're not interacting with you and your baby during the times that we do throughout the week. And I will get into that schedule momentarily as well. You will also receive a prepared environment consultation. And what this is, and what I think this is absolutely fantastic, you will have a very special personalized appointment. We call it white glove service, with your trained Montessori consultant to support you in your home environment. So your consultant will walk you through your home. I'm going to pop out of here so I can see everyone's faces. They will walk you through your home. They will take you through your child's bedroom, through their bathroom, into the kitchen area, and help you find a space where your child can be safe, can move around freely, can learn through the materials, and be successful. So essentially what that looks like is a Zoom conference call. And it's been really interesting to hear the consultants and their stories and how they're helping these families essentially essentially streamline their processes, and how they have materials and furniture and their bed set up, for example, in their room. So this consultation will include a Zoom phone call, either with your iPad or your phone, and you will walk this consultant through your home to help you create what that environment best suits your child's learning in a safe, effective, warm, inviting manner that doesn't take over your entire home, and it doesn't look as if your entire home is turned into a Montessori toddler infant classroom, but have very specific areas in the house that help facilitate that growth. For example, a concierge would be, and as well as a consultant, would be a great opportunity to ask them relative to maybe your child showing signs of wanting to go to the bathroom on their own. And Montessori has a very specific way of creating that process of diapering and using the toilet and what that looks like. There are materials essentially stationed, if you will, throughout the home, specifically in the bathroom, that will help facilitate what that diapering and what that potty training looks like through our methodology and philosophy. The same as goes with the child's bedroom. We have very specific ideas and ideals relative to how our infant bedrooms are created, again, to ensure that, and I think that someone had mentioned, and I apologize, I can't remember if it was, I think it was it Jess that you did a lot of research on that independence and that self-success and that growth, that really healthy growth. That would be an example of what that philosophy is that surrounds the bedroom environment and the resting and the reading of books and being able to move around as a child at that age. So this consultation is really, really beautiful. They will also help you acquire, relative to your child's age and stage of development, perhaps furniture, shelving, non-toxic plants to put throughout the environment that your child can help nurture and water, that are safe and not dangerous to have around your child. For example, we also have great insight into the furniture that we suggest that you purchase relative to your child's body stature, how it ergonomically supports their back and their arms and their body, so they're not rolling off a chair or it's not flimsy. So we really have a very, very methodical way of helping you procure some materials that help support the materials that we've already provided for you. So I'm going to share the screen again. How is everyone doing so far? Are there any questions about anything that I've discussed or brought up that maybe have triggered something? Okay, great. So our next slide, this is my favorite, is that we have actually partnered with a company called Monty Kids, and they were recently on the show Shark Tank pitching their amazing, beautiful, quality handmade Montessori materials. And we have partnered with them to supply you with these materials relative to your child's stage of development down to the months. These materials come in boxes of kits, and I'm going to show you an example of that in just a moment. But one of the most amazing things that I love about this process and this program is that you will have an online portal or an online account created for you through Monty Kids that will help guide you and support you through your child's growth and development relative to the materials that you're receiving. There are step-by-step processes of when to present in a material or a manipulative to your child, whether it's through week 2 or week 4 of the box set. It is incredibly user-friendly, very hands-on, and it walks you through that process of when it is appropriate and when your child's ready and what to look for to know and understand if your child's ready. So at this point, we have a parent concierge that you have unlimited access to also ask these questions that will help you with your environment, that will help you with perhaps maybe some eating sensitivities your child might have, or tantrums they start having, or siblings that start interacting together and you're needing a little support with that. You'll also have that consultant at your service to help you with your environment. For example, if you start out with an infant in our program and you notice you've now started to graduate into more movement with your young child, we can help facilitate how to shift that environment around a little bit so it is more successful for your child. And then you also have the Monty Kids program that will help walk you through and facilitate some of these lessons and some of these materials. This is an example. This is a screenshot that I took actually from the website, but it gives you, we have different level of boxes that go all the way to 24 months in our infant program. And we have level 1 box, level 2, level 3, and within each box will contain information, direction, the objectives to these lessons, the purpose of why we procured them, why they were made, and what it is helping within your child to develop, which is really fantastic. And these will guide you through our process. We will teach you how to display them on the shelves, how to introduce them, and you start interacting with your concierge, and this will best help your concierge teach you how to observe your child, find their strengths, where they might be having a little bit of trouble, fine motor, gross motor, hand-eye coordination. We are very, very intentional about how we present these materials and how we best explain how to use them for your child, so you can feel successful at home when you're not talking to our concierge or your consultant, and you feel empowered to present these and to work with them with your child. You're really, really beautiful. In addition to all of these incredible aspects of this infant program, we also provide premium parent and child events. This happens 4 days out of the week, Monday through Thursday or Tuesday through Friday, depending. And we have two gatherings, if you will, of parents and their children. So movement and sound gatherings we offer twice a week, and they're about 20 minutes long. And this is a time for you to engage your child in developmentally appropriate lessons, at developmentally appropriate levels, with lessons and activities designed with that Montessori pedagogy and by Montessori trained educators that know very specifically how to use these materials. And this is a time where you can help encourage your child to move, you sing songs. It's for a very short amount of time, as children at this age are not, nor do we want them to be focused on the screen, but it's more of an opportunity for you to mirror your concierge or your guide's actions and movements and language and rhythms to help you support your child when you're not in those gatherings over the computer. You will also have the opportunity to attend parent meetups, is what we call them. This is essentially, this happens also 2 times a week, but it's for 30 minutes long. And this is very similar to a daddy and me or mommy and me experience. And this will give you as a parent opportunities to connect with other parents of infants, which is very important. We're finding there is a general consensus with adults and children right now and over the last 6 months where that interaction has just not been happening for very obvious reasons. So we wanted to provide opportunities for you to meet up with other parents that have children that are your child's age. You can connect, you can get to know one another, you can socialize, you can work and play with your baby as you're interacting with these parents. It's essentially a virtual daddy and me or mommy and me experience, because we know that you need that connection and you need that support just as much as your child does. So this is also a really, really beautiful and important time for you and your child to connect with others in a similar way. So before I get into our next steps, this sounds very, I did not at all want to overwhelm you. I want to really, really hone in on the fact that we are here to support you and your family and your environment and your children, and emphasize that home environment build. And then the materials and the methodology are kind of icing on the cake, if you will. So our goal is to be there to provide that support for you and to emphasize that home creation and setup to facilitate the independence and the fine motor and the gross motor and the coordination and the long periods of interacting with these materials and manipulating them. And that's just building their brain chemistry and their fine motor and gross motor, and they're fine tuning their senses with these materials. It's really, really beautiful. These materials are very simply made. They're all non-toxic. They're all developmentally appropriate. They do not light up. They do not make noises. We find in our philosophy that the actual experience of the materials is more important than the noises and the lights and the buzzers. So this essentially is mirroring exactly what your child would be getting within that infant program in a brick and mortar Montessori program, but they can do it at home safely without you having to worry about them. So does anyone have any questions for me? But then no, I must be doing really good.
Doing well here. Thank you.
Oh, you're okay, great. I guess that means I'm doing a good job.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. Okay, so let's talk about our next steps. So after this information session, I'm going to send you a follow-up email. Within the follow-up email, I will have a recording of this video, so you can feel free to share this with your friends, your spouses, family members, anyone you like. It's easily attained. If once I send it to you in a link, you can share it with anyone, so feel free to do that. You will also receive a link to re-register for another event if you so choose, or if you have someone that someone that might be interested, you can share that link as well. And then you're also going to be receiving a couple of informational flyers that I'll attach to the email. One is very specific to our infant program. One is our tuition schedule as well. And I will also provide a link to our registration page on our website. That way you don't need to go in and toggle around and try to figure out where that is. That will all be provided for you for ease of use. Our infant program is $750 a month, and that includes the materials, that includes the concierge services, that includes the consultant that you receive, that also the consulting services you receive, and that for your environment on an ongoing basis. And that also includes your for 2 times a week for the music and movement, and the 2 times a week for the parent meetup. So all of that is inclusive. And I also want to emphasize these materials are yours to keep. You do not have to return them. Please use them for as long as your child is interested in them. And what you'll find, this is what I think is really beautiful about how intentionally we have chosen these materials, is there is, for example, an initial lesson or an initial experience that your infant will have with these. But as they start growing, you'll start noticing them using them in different ways, which is exactly what we want. So they're building on that experience with that specific lesson and start using them in different ways naturally, organically. And that is exactly what we want. That's what's important to us, that they're multi-use for relative to your child's development and stage of development. So you can interchange them. And again, this is all provided, this information is all provided on how to do that with your concierge. But this isn't simply, I received this box, he's used it once, and we're moving on. These materials work over months and months and months and months, sometimes even longer. So keep that in mind as well. Our tuition is $750 a month, and it includes everything that I had just mentioned. You will be required to submit a $750 deposit upon registration. That $750 will be held until your child's last month of the program with us. We just simply need enough notice. For example, if you were in our program and you wanted your child's last day to be December 31st, you would let us know sometime in November. So we have a month's time to apply that $750 to your last month's tuition. If you were to tell us at the beginning of, in the middle of December, that you wanted your child's last day to be at the end of December, we would actually have to push that to at the very end of January, if that makes sense. So we just need a good solid 30 days notice. We apply that, and you do not have to pay for that last month's tuition because you've already paid for it when you registered. We also have a promotion going on right now that is 50% off your child's first full month of school with us. I say school, we program with us. I apologize. So if you start, for example, in the middle of November, we'll prorate November for you. And then in December, you receive 50% off your first month's tuition, which I think is a really, really great introduction into the program. And it's an incredible initiative, I feel like, to sign up. So that is something else that we offer as well. And we actually extended it, which is really nice. That was great to hear that as well. And what I also can share with you before I hop off and see everyone's beautiful faces again is there are immediate openings for the infant program. It's on a rolling basis. So you will be prompted when you register through our link that I'll provide. You will be provided a preferred start date for your child. And honestly, we go off of what's best for you and your family. So if you tell us next week, then we do the best we can to ensure that you and your child start next week. If it's the beginning of the year, if it's in 2 weeks, we use that as a gauge and do our best to meet the needs of that process and that preference that you have. But seeing as the infant program is completely ongoing and it has open enrollment all the time, this again is going to be completely up to you when you decide you want your child to start. We also offer a financial aid option, which I like to mention during these sessions, and I would be happy to add a link to that in the follow-up letter that I send you. And you do not have to be a part of the program to apply for our financial aid. We use a third-party company that we've partnered with, and we have a lot of parents who actually utilize that to receive tuition assistance based on obviously their finances and where they're finding themselves this year in terms of work and that kind of thing. And then once you have registered with us, our program will be triggered in a sense to start sending you the Monty Kids materials based on your child's age. So of course, if you have a 4-month-old, you wouldn't receive the first box that's for babies. You would receive the box that is specific to your 4-month-old. So we use that to gauge what Monty Kids send you, and you will receive those anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks after you start school. I will tell you though, Monty Kids has been very, very reactive, and they're very good about getting materials to us when we need to. So I would almost anticipate that being less time, but I would rather say more and you'd be surprised with a week or two versus me tell you it'll be there in a week and then it doesn't come for 2 weeks. So we try to be fair. They're very, very busy, and they know that we have a lot of interest and a lot of parents joining our program. So they're very, very supportive in that sense. So are there any questions for me about the program? Belen, do you have anything? I know you said you are in Vancouver. We do ship to Canada. I know that that's been a question a lot of our families have had, and we have worked through that process and assure that you will receive those. I think a couple of times, and I think Candace knows this because she lives in Canada, a couple of the boxes have gotten hooked up in customs. Thank you. And I saw the word in my head, but since then we haven't had any issues at all. They're very, very good about sending those, so which is great.
No, that's perfect. Thanks.
Absolutely. And again, I can't emphasize enough. I have to tell you, I'm very, very grateful that you showed interest in our program. This is the pivotal point in a young child's life when all of this starts happening. They are growing at a rate so fast that sometimes I think you will probably, have you ever already noticed, they look different when they wake up in the morning. I mean, their features are changing, their body is changing, they're eating, they're not eating, they're sleeping, they're not sleeping. It is happening so fast, and this is your chance to grasp what that is, that they have the capacity and ability to learn and allow it just to unfold. And it is really, really beautiful when you start creating those spaces for your children at this age and see how fast they acclimate and start taking ownership of these materials and learn from them and are engrossed in them for 30, 40, 50 minutes at a time. It will blow your mind. It is absolutely fantastic. So I thank you as parents for putting this as making this a priority in your baby's lives, because this will help them become lovers of learning. They will be interested in math and science and language and just finding what their interests are, and you allowing them to do this will take them to levels that I don't even think you quite anticipate you'll even understand until you see it one day. So this is a fantastic way to start, and I appreciate your interest in this and your dedication to your family and your babies. Thank you. Please let me know if you have any questions before we get off. If not, I will be sending you a follow-up email with the additional information. And please feel free, in the email you will see I have a calendar link that I have provided. And I believe, Belen, you came in a little bit after I mentioned this, so I want to reiterate one more time. I am open to conversations, Zoom calls, any questions that you need or any thoughts that you have. Please feel free to reach out. Candace just dropped it again into the chat, but I love talking to parents. I love learning about their children. And if you do call me on Zoom, I will ask to see your baby. It's just how it is. I have to. It makes my day. So please feel free to do that. And anything other than that, I just look forward to seeing your babies in these classrooms and seeing how much they're growing and thriving. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Tricia. Thank you
You're welcome.
so much.
You're very welcome. Nice to meet you both.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks a
Looking forward to the follow-up emails.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Have a good day. Have a good weekend.
You too. Good night.
Same for
Bye.
you guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.